Coast Guard, Apprentice Seaman, Adam. Wearing jersey number 2, Coast Guard, Seaman, second class, Rudy Gatdula. Wearing jersey number 10, Coast Guard, Seaman, first class, Fraz Alduwahab. At jersey number 11, Coast Guard, Seaman, second class, Larry Francisco. At number 16, Rafael Del Pilar. Starting libero, wearing jersey number 9, Renz Hu. With their head coach, Coast Guard, Seaman, first class, Sen Rivadadera. Introducing your starters for Davies Paint Adamson University. Let's call on their team captain at number 7, John Guy. Wearing jersey number 1, Jude Aguilar. At jersey number 8, Leo Cogimbal. Wearing jersey number 10, Cassie Casas. At number 11, Lawrence Domingo. Wearing jersey number 12, Pau Paulino. Their starting libero is number 2, Lawrence Canlas. Head coach is Mr. George Pascua. This is match number 6 of the preliminary rounds, Pool C, between Philippine Coast Guard and Davies Paint Adamson. May the best team win.
Presenting the starters of the Philippine Coast Guard, we have De La Vega, Gatdula, Abdul Wahab, the big three that you mentioned in our pregame with Molinyawe, Francisco Del Pilar, and Hu, a former national team player. That's Renzi Hu. And then on the other end for Adamson, we have Domingo, the new setter, with Gay, Cogimbal, Casas, Paulino, Aguilar, and Canlas. A couple of familiar names already for Davies Paint Adamson as they're coached by George Pascua again here in our Spikers Turf Invitational Conference. Thank you for joining us on the 4th game of our Sunday quadruple header, and we open things up with a hit by Leo Cogimbal.
Good start here for Adamson. And unang plate pa lang, dinaan na kagad sa bilis.
Well, Ivy, I did talk to Leo Cogimbal and the rest of Adamson before this game, as there's an answer from Coast Guard, courtesy of Larry Francisco. But back to that Adamson point, Leo Cogimbal really had to work on his speed in the offseason because they just lost Josh Magalaman. Remember him, the biggest player?
That's right.
So he's going to really have to step up as their middle blocker. Service here for the Coast Guard, that sails out. That was Damdam Adam on the service miss or service error, as now it's John Gay, the newest team captain of Adamson, at the line. Another error.
Another free point. You know, they're trying to really give out these strong serves kasi maganda, malaking bagay din yun if you're not, the opponent is not able to have a good first ball.
Is that the usual tendency at the start of a match?
Well, it could be, you know, if you want to start off strong, talagang yung iba di na talaga nag-warm up. And just like that attack, full force.
That's Francis Casas, who obviously impressed a lot of people in UAAP Season 85 as an opposite spiker for Davies Paint Adamson. Again, folks, Adamson has a new setter returning for them. He played with the core of the Adamson squad in high school, as now we just got to witness another service error.
String of service error here for the side of Adamson.
So now it's a team captain for Coast Guard in Puto de la Vega. Service is in, straight to Pau Paulino. There's Jude Aguilar, who attacks from the middle.
You gotta love how aggressive Adamson is being with their attacks. Let's take a look at this one.
Jude Aguilar transitioned from being an outside hitter back to being a middle blocker, his natural position back in high school. Ball received by Hu. Here's an attack from the open. Great net defense by the blue shirts. But there's the recovery from Coast Guard. It's Gatdula with his first point. Now, you mentioned you covered him before here in the Spikers turf. Is this the Gatdula that you know?
Yes. So, but you know, I really love the energy we're seeing here with Adamson. You know, they're really starting off very strong, not giving the Coast Guard opportunity para, you know, to organize themselves.
Again, Adamson is coming into this game as the younger squad. Hindi naman ganun katanda itong
Di
Coast
naman
Guard,
din.
no? But obviously, these players of Adamson are younger because they're still in college.
Right. So, syempre, they're going up against more experienced players.
And that good start would be big for them as John Gay adds to the tally.
That was an excellent play from Adamson.
Did you cover them back in season 85?
Yes, you know, actually, I've seen this Adamson team is very, very promising. You know, while they did not probably finish off the way that they wanted in terms of ranking, but you see they also gave the stronger teams a hard time.
Yes. Adamson finished with 2 wins in their last UAAP campaign, as now it's another service error for them.
That's already 3 service errors on the side of Adamson.
Which means it's majority of the points of Coast Guard.
That's right.
Ball received by Paulino. There's the back set to the runner. Ball still alive. John Gay tried to break the wall. Scramble here. From the back, that's Francis Casas. Abdul Wahab sets. Ball up by Adamson. This is their setter attacking. Did he cross the line? Yes, he did.
Point goes to the Coast Guard. That was one of the best rallies we've had so far. Good defense showed by both teams. And on the side of the blue shirts, they're diving all over the place just to make sure the ball is kept alive.
Well, are you expecting more activity on the floor defense from the Adamson side?
Yes, you know, we all know that Adamson they have been known for that ever since. No? They're a very defensive team.
Right now, their defense has translated to their offense as they score again on another runner. 7-6 as we approach our first technical timeout in this wonderful, wonderful Spikers Turf Day in the Paco Arena. Abdul Wahab with a set to the slide on the other end. Unfortunately, Francisco touched the net. And so that leads us to the first technical timeout. Adamson is up 8-6.
Back at the 2023 Spikers Turf Invitational, being a former player of this team, Coach Johnson Rivadeneira's passion in leading this team this time is very precious to him. Ang kwento nito actually is no one was available to be head coach. So he gave up his outside hitter role to being head coach. This is with his personal training path for being part of the Philippine Coast Guard. They have been preparing as a team for 2 months now, which includes their stint at the PNP AFP Olympics, as you mentioned earlier, for their conditioning. This preparation also includes practices from 5:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. And these are all because they need to get back in shape after leaving the Spikers Turf in 2019. Lalo na pag ganito pa kabata ang kalaban nila. Migs, Ivy?
I gotta love that report, especially highlighting the dedication of the Coast Guard team with their practices. They wake up early in the morning, which I think they usually do.
Well, yeah, I think that's a common thing for them anyway. But yun nga, you know, because aside from playing, they also have their responsibilities. Kumbaga, that's their work, you know, if we call it. So kung ang ating mga estudyante may klase, sila naman meron ding responsibility at work. And and I'm sure, it's not easy, being able to balance both.
But as team captain Puto de la Vega would say, as Adamson scores here, duty comes first. Which, if you translate to the Adamson side, studies come first.
Pero yun lang siguro yung advantage na ng students, being in that at least yung klase mo hindi dire-diretso 8 oras.
Yes.
You can manage the schedule, and how you work, how you organize your classes. But once yun parang working athlete nga sabi nga natin, that's a bit more challenging.
And so we thank you, Mika Besamis, for giving us that report. We still have another topic to talk about later on, yung kanilang head coach to. But right now, we go back to our rally. As now, the attack from Casa sails outside. They do have a 3-point lead. And we were talking about this off-air. Adamson, they tend to start really well.
That's right. If you've watched them in UAAP, they've also given the stronger teams a challenge or a difficult time. But I think one of the challenges that they had as a team sustaining that, they start off well, but once the momentum was gained by the opponent, yun yung minsan nahihirapan silang makabalik.
So obviously, it's too early to tell as of this moment, but Adamson does take this comfortable 4-point advantage.
And so far, they're moving very well. Their defense has been working very well as well. We talk about defense, excellent blocking.
Even though they lost Josh Magalaman, the net defense still stays alive for them. Now we have a timeout for Coast Guard.
Tatlo. Basahin niyo yung spiker. Pagka na-miss-receive na, bibigay na yun sa bitawan niyo na. Bibigay yun sa backline. Bitawan, receive niyo na. Ha? Tapos puro pass play lang yun. Dukutin niyo na. Dukutin niyo na. Huwag niyo nang
Hindi depensa, wala tayong atake.
Let's see what happened in the previous sequence. The net defense, as you pointed out, by Adamson. That's a block by Francis Casas, their opposite spiker. But now, since we heard the voice of Coach Jansen, we have to talk about him. So Ivy, your thoughts about that transition from being a player onto being a coach?
Well, that's actually, that you would say that's a normal transition.
Okay.
But the thing is, what makes the situation unique for them is he's still included in the roster.
Oh.
He's still playing with them in AFP. And he took on the role of a coach because nobody's able to fill in, that shoes. And I think that's very, yung sinasabi natin, the dedication.
Yes.
Kasi kung ako tatanungin mo, mas gusto ko maglaro.
That's why we give a big shout out to Coach Jansen
yes,
for his transition.
And it's not easy to be a coach,
Adamson just scored again off of that regalo given by Coast Guard. I'd like to bring up this last point for Coach Jansen. I wonder if he still is technically on the roster, na pwede kaya siyang hugutin at any moment. Pagbibista lang sa'yo,
that would be interesting, para playing coach.
Yes. Oh, scramble here. That's an easy point for Coast Guard.
A little confusion on the side of Coast Guard.
It's Adam who scored for them. It's a bit confusing with his name because his real name is Adam. His nickname is Adam, and his last name is Adam. There's another nickname listed on his profile, and it's Dum Dum. So it's not too far. So a big shout out to Mr. Adam, as we also give a big shout out to Leo Coquimbal, who scores again. And so are you seeing the quickness from Mr. Coquimbal?
Yes. So it's really, talagang, he knows the role that he has. And yun nga, as a quicker, it's really very important. And we can see din na sipag rin niya pumasok.
The other end, sipag din pumasok ng middle blocker ng Coast Guard. That's Larry Francisco. We talk about this a lot during our coverages, but if you're a setter, you want to activate your middle blocker.
Yes. That's a big thing na makakuha ng blocker.
Unfortunately, Francisco just gave us an error on his service, which leads us to our second technical timeout.
nag-focus po kami ngayon sa chemistry po ng team. Nakatulong din sa amin yung mga bagong rookies na pumasok para mapaganda pa yung team namin. Sabi nila coach, isipin daw namin na every tatapa kami sa court, isipin namin na last game na namin. Kahit first game pa lang, last game na. Ang bigay na namin yung lahat kasi wala nang next time. Yun po yung mindset na binibigay sa amin ni Coach George.
Gotta love those statements coming from the middle blocker of Adamson, that is Leo Cogimbal. By the way, folks, watch the Spikers Turf live in HD and on demand via Pilipinas Live. Enjoy the action anytime, anywhere, and in any device. Download and subscribe now or watch via PilipinasLive.com. Right now, the score reads 16-9 in favor of Leo Cogimbal and Adamson. They just scored their 17th.
That's a courtesy of the error of Coast Guard. So it looks like Coast Guard still trying to get their footing together. So not very organized inside the court. You know, if you compare these two teams, I think yun ang nagiging advantage ng Adamson right now. They're very organized inside the court.
Well, they do actually go to school together. It's been a while na rin. No? Yung core nila, high school days pa yan.
That's right.
There's the attack. Straight.
And that's a veteran move for you. You know, he was really trying to aim for the hands of the blocker.
I thought the ball was trying to go out of the Paco Arena with that attack by Puto de la Vega. Now they're gonna challenge this. Was there actually a block touch? For all you know, Ivy.
We will never know if there's like a very slight touch on any of the fingers, but it's really hard to tell.
Well, you did mention it's a veteran move.
It's a veteran move.
So as you can see the smile of Coach Jackson.
Kasi alanganin na, you know, you can really see that he's really not in the proper position for that hit.
Let's see.
Oh, there's none.
Yeah, it was way up.
He had the right intention in mind.
That's the team captain of Philippine Coast Guard getting a smile from his supposed teammate in Coach Jackson. That's a rare moment in the Spikers Turf Invitational Conference, but he will gladly take it. It's now 18 serving 9 in set number 1. That's a service error again. That has been a theme for Adamson here in the first set.
That's right. 4 service errors already for Adamson.
Now we have a substitution, a double sub at that. Galvez and Molinyawe check in. That's Leo Galvez and Narth Molinyawe. So it's Galvez who will be serving. Ooh, almost got an ace with the help of the net. Francis Casas will attack. He's rejected.
Excellent block on the side of Coast Guard, and that's what they actually need. You know, they're having a little bit of trouble with their floor defense, so the net defense would definitely help them.
Beautiful play there by the orange shirts. Paulino answers back though for Adamson. Paulino came off the bench a ton of times for Adamson in season 85. As now the double sub comes in for Coach George Pascua. It's Baptista and Bermudez who will check in. Bermudez, the backup setter, will now serve for the blue shirts. Here we go. They're up by 8 points in set number 1. This is set number 14 overall in our Spikers Turf Sunday. There's the attack from the open. Ball kept alive. Great defense by the libero of Adamson. To the middle. Nice attack by Del Pilar.
Good quick hit.
No jump on the set there for Coast Guard. Straight to Rafi Del Pilar, who definitely towers over everybody in this game. The other end, that's Jude Aguilar, who was rejected at the net. Casas will push. Great net defense again. Canlas, back row attack. That's low for John Gay.
Straight into the net. And that gives Coast Guard the 13th point.
You did mention for Adamson, sustainability has been a continuous challenge for them. No good for the team captain. So now we have a service from Coast Guard. Ball up by Canlas. Back set on to Paulino. That's low again.
Another point here for Coast Guard, and this courtesy of the errors of Adamson.
That leads us to a timeout for Coach George Pascua.
Atake tayo boys ha. So advantage tayo. Tatlo ang spiker natin. Paano ba natin mako-convert ng point yung receive? Nakaka-receive tayo eh. So as much as possible, okay lang mo-block. Normal. Pero papalin natin na over, wala na tayong chance yan. So pwede ba habaan nyo lang yung palo nyo? Lalo na pagka out of system tayo. So target lang. Saan? Specific. So ngayon, takbuhan mo doon, Jude. Iwanan mo isa rito. Nandito yung maliit na blocker, ha? Pero receive nyo dito sa 3. Sa 3 nyo receive na. Okay, let's go.
Now we usually hear receiving problems from any team, but that doesn't seem to be a problem so far for Adamson. It's their attacking.
Is their attacking, that's right. They actually have been receiving very well. You know, keeping the difficult balls or difficult plays alive and in place. Pero yun nga, yung success rate when it comes to attack. So that's their challenge right now. Coming off from the timeout, another attack error.
This time it came from Baptista, who came off the bench on that double sub. So Casas and Domingo will now return for Coach George Pascua. That obviously is not what you want to happen off of a timeout.
That's right. So although they're still 4 points up, you know, 4 points ahead, but yun nga, still giving the momentum because of those errors.
Domingo back sets. There's Aguilar. It went through. As now it's a 1-2 for Domingo. But will there be a challenge here?
That was a good play from Adamson.
Is there going to be a challenge? I think the coaches of Coast Guard are trying to identify which challenge card to raise. What do you think could be their case here? Did the ball not go through?
It did, actually. Yeah, it did. So, I'm not quite sure exactly what they're trying to argue here with the referee. But I think for Coast Guard, they're trying to call it a violation against Adamson.
Galvez just talked to our first referee. And then, now it seems like they will let this go. So, Paulino is set to serve for Davies Paint Adamson. They have the lead 20-15 in set number 1. Here's Pau. Service in. Galvez sets to the open. Down the line hit works.
Let's take a look at that once again. Down the line hit. We have 3 blockers going up against, I think that's Molinyawe.
Yes.
North Molinyawe.
Molinyawe is one of the guest players of Coast Guard. So he's not technically in position, but they're glad to have his presence. Scramble there, Galvez back to the open. Great net defense for Adamson.
Good blocking being displayed by Adamson here in this game. You know, they're making it difficult for the attackers of Coast Guard.
And that's their setter in Domingo. Just got another block on his returning game for the blue shirts. Ooh, nice placement of that ball.
Very smart move. Just finding the right spot.
As you can see, or as you saw, there was the scramble off of that defense by Adamson. A rare push that we get to see in volleyball, but it happens. What's that zone where the ball went to?
That's zone 5.
Zone 5.
Yeah, zone 5.
Usually, kung tutulak ka, sa dalawang corner lang naman yun,
Yeah,
no?
two corners.
John Gay, ball kept alive,
That's
unfortunately.
already a violation.
So it's a point for John. What's the violation there? Double touch?
Yes. Actually, gumulong pa sa katawan.
Lumulong pa sa katawan. So, ano yun? Unlimited
Madami,
touches yun.
Di lang double.
Unfortunately, this is service error number 5. Wow.
So that's 5 free points that they gave away from the service line. They're talking about Adamson, and we are not yet counting how many attack errors, you know, that they had. So quite a number of points for from errors ang binigay nitong Adamson.
Unfortunately, Coast Guard also just gave us their third service error. It's now 23 serving 18. John Gay straight to Adam. Oh, nice push by De La Vega. And he sent the ball back straight to our staff. Puto De La Vega, correct me if I'm wrong, but he plays with a lot of swag, no?
I think that's where he gets the, his energy.
Yeah. He would even tell me stories back in his UAAP days about how he talks to his opponents from the other side of the net. There's the attack by De La Vega. This time he's rejected.
Again, the roof placed over by Adamson, just making it difficult for Philippine Coast Guard.
Sige lang. Pasa muna tayo ng tao. Nawawala na yung ano natin eh. Pagka yung blockings ng kalaban, pagka naulan na. Diskarte na lang. Tapos, receive natin, sa likod.
Okay,
tayo, coverage.
Wala problema sa receive.
Wala tayo
Angat
problema.
naman eh, oo.
Coverage lang pag may nakalo. Pagka receive.
Open spikers, target open spikers. Isa pa yun. Mali po nangyari ha. Let's go!
Let's see the last rejection for De La Vega. It's Coquimbal and Casas working together.
They've read De La Vega's attacks very well. You know, which direction he would be going to.
It's 5 set points for Adamson University in set number 1. Ball straight to Hu. There's a middle attack by Del Pilar. Free ball given up. Aguilar. Domingo Paulino tried to end it. Oh, a miscue on the other end for Coast Guard. So that's how we're going to end set number 1. As Renzi Hu just gave us a smile off of what happened.
Let's take a look at that once again. So that was actually a good receive there on the side of Coast Guard, but you know, I think the communication problem of who's really gonna get it.
Yeah, Hu was on his knees and then he had to chase the ball afterwards. The score for set number 1 is 25-19. Back inside the Paco Arena in Manila, Adamson University able to take set number 1 against Philippine Coast Guard, 25-19. Now, We talked about this in the first set. Adamson does have a tendency to start strong, but how impressed were you with that strong start by the Blue Shirts?
Actually, you know, I think they've been moving very well. Again, if we compare this to Coast Guard, they have been very organized inside the court. You know, the floor defense actually was exceptional here for Adamson. And talking about defense, also the blocking has worked very well for Adamson. So I think, you know, they're off to a good start. And I think they just need to minimize the errors, because those errors, and if they're probably going up for a more consistent team, might cost them. So let's take a look at the numbers for set number 1. Adamson with more attack points, 13, as only 8 from Coast Guards, and they, as we've seen how well they did the defense at the net, they had 3 block points out of that. And this is quite interesting, you know, because despite the fact that we see Coast Guard struggling a little bit, the errors are just in equal playing field. They both just gave away 9 points each.
And of those 9 points, or 9 errors by Adamson, 5 came from the service line.
That's right.
Very easy points for Coast Guard, who on the other end had 3 service errors. So now we are about to begin a total of, let me do the math, set number 15 for today.
Right, for today,
That's
yes.
how beautiful this day has been for our Spikers.
It has been a very exciting day.
Yes. Folks, if you missed it, we had 5 sets in the first 2 games, 3 sets in the last one, and now the question is, can Adamson actually sweep Coast Guard? But it seems like the orange shirts have a different idea.
So that's overreaching violation being called up against Adamson.
Are we going to see a challenge? There seems to be a challenge here for Adamson on the block touch. How about that? We start the second set with a challenge. So can you clear it out for us again, Ivy, the rules in terms of challenging in each and every set?
Well, of course, I'm sure that if you've been watching all these games, you know that each of these teams are able to put out a challenge. It's either a block touch challenge, they have a net violation challenge, or in and out. So they have each team should have opportunities, of course, to reverse the decision of the referee.
And that's a maximum of 2 challenges.
If you were able to if you're successful, you know, you can have more than 2 challenge. Maximum of 2 challenges, of course. But if you're unsuccessful, then that's up to only 2.
Okay. So there you have it. And here in the Spikers turf, during the challenge, you can't do a huddle.
Right.
We still have 2 timeouts each for our coaches in each set. Technical timeouts are still at 8 and 16. As Coach George Pasqua is now pleading his case to our referees at the sideline. That's how important the first point is for them.
Challenge ko kasi hindi naman hawakan ng player, bakit tinawagan niyang ano?
So the referee's call was overreaching.
Tinawagan ng first referee, hindi naman tinawagan ng ano. Pwede niya tawagan yung double, kalaban. Hindi naman hawakan eh. Kaya nga siya-challenge namin, sir, para to clarify eh. Hindi naman nahawakan eh. Sabi niya kasi overreach eh. Hindi naman nahawakan eh.
So was he pleading for a challenge actually? So noong una hinaharangan ng referees natin.
Oh, so I think because wrong call. If I'm getting it correctly, you know, there was a wrong call and that they're challenging it.
Well, there's a reason why we have referees on the court and we have commentators. Kami yan. Dito lang kami waiting for the official decision. We let them decide this. Again, if you're Adamson University, you don't want to go back to your usual tendencies of playing well at the start and then you let things go by the end.
So this is what Coach George was saying, that he was saying that there was no touch from the hands of Adamson. You know, the player. But based on the challenge, there was a touch. That's right.
And the LED screen is right in front of that Adamson bench. So Coach George actually had a front row seat to it, to our review. Now they have let things go. Second point for set number 2. There's the answer from Francis Casas.
And that goes off the block.
All that build-up, no, for Francis Casas to give us that hammer. Oh, he said, I've had enough of this. Let me score. As who got the first ball? Abdulwahab onto Gatdula. Ooh, a miscue again.
That has happened several times here for Coast Guard. They're not sure who is going to get the second ball.
So that's back-to-back points for Adamson in set number 2. Team captain John Gay serving straight to Gatdula. Back set this time around onto Adam. Ball deflected. Domingo. Back sets. Nice approach by Francis Casas.
Adamson moving like a well-oiled machine here in this game.
It's now 3 serving 1. John Gay again, straight to the libero. That's who. And Francisco's attack sailed outside. Now they're going to see
a challenge being called here by Coast Guard.
Whether or not the ball was actually in. Wow, we're not coming up short on challenges here in set number 2.
And it's just the start of the set.
That's right.
Score is just 3-1.
Usually, dumadami yan sa dulo na, no? There you see Coach Jansen. Again, as Mika Abisamis reported, he was supposed to play for Philippine Coast Guard as an outside hitter, if I heard it right. That is in. So the challenge is successful.
Ball is in.
And that would get the crowd going here in the Papa Arena. The smile as well from Coach Jansen himself. All right. It's now 2 serving 3. How anticlimactic. Francisco just gave us another service error after that challenge.
Oh, he has not been very lucky at the service line.
It's back to a 2-point advantage for Leo Cogimbal and the rest of Adamson University. Ball up here by Coast Guard. Del Pilar towering over those blockers of Adamson.
Del Pilar now with 2 points. So it's Francisco with 2 points here for Coast Guard, Adam with 3, Gatdula with 2, Molinyawi with 2. And for Adamson, it's Cogimbal with 5 points, Gay with 3, Paulino with 3, Aguilar with 2, and Casas with 1 point.
Oh, that
going to
set
be
was
difficult.
tight. Domingo on the other end to the open. That's outside for Paulino.
Well, he had the right thing in mind. He was looking at that end line and there was nobody there for Coast Guard.
So it's now 4-all in set number 2. Domingo will set up the slide, which is long for Aguilar. Don't look now, folks. Coast Guard has the lead.
So 3 straight points here for Philippine Coast Guard.
That's after the challenge, no?
That's right.
Bit of a momentum swing right there for the orange shirts. Service. That's by Adam. Domingo to Casas. Yes! Francis Casas has been very aggressive from the opposite side in this game. You mentioned his tally. He had only 1 point in set number 1, but really, he only had 1 point in set number 1. As now it's a service error for Francis.
So that's counting 6 service errors since the start of the game for Adamson.
Ball received. Domingo to Francis from the back. His attack was low. It's now a 2-point advantage for Philippine Coast Guard. Can they send us to our first technical timeout in set number 2? Gadula will serve. Straight to John Gay. Domingo to the open. Paulino is rejected. And folks, Coast Guard has the lead 8-5 on our first technical timeout.
Back at the Paco Arena for your 2023 Spikers Turf Invitational. In preparation for this, Coach George Pascua focused on running and running during practice, which he thinks is key to going against older men. Besides this, another thing he would like to improve is their defense from net to floor. But one thing they would like to call their claim to fame, though, was when they joined the Solid 7 League and won silver against the Signal Spikers, which then still included Mark Espejo. Not bad, as you can see, pero mukhang nakakahabol na ang older men. Now, for our poll question for today, which team will have most digs? Adamson has 56%, while the Philippine Coast Guards have 44%. Also, shout out to Bautista Danny LB. On my way to Paco Arena, hashtag Spikers Turf 2023. Tara na, Danny. Migs, Ivy?
Oh, I gotta love that. Thank you, Mika Abishamis. We have 2 points to talk about. Number 1, Adamson defeated Signal HD in the offseason.
I think it was Adamson got the silver.
At the silver,
Yeah.
they lost to Signal HD.
Yes.
Okay, because they actually beat our defending champions, and that would be a bigger testament. And the second point is how they prepared against the quote-unquote older men of Coast Guard.
Naku, pag nalaman ng Coast Guard yan. Other reference,
I'm
I am sure.
I'm sure yung testament na yun may with all due respect sa Coast Guard. As Abdul Wahab sets up Del Pilar, the lead has been cut down to 1, by the way. Molinyawe off of the blockers. We do have a good crowd with us here in the Paco Arena.
And I think the Philippine Coast Guard has brought their own supporters also here.
Yeah. I wonder if they actually work with our players as John Gay approaches and scores.
Adamson once again scores off the block, and this has been one of the effective plays, that they had. Coast Guard obviously having challenges trying to keep the ball alive if it comes from, deflected from the block.
It's now 8 serving 9. That's Jude Aguilar. Attack from the middle, and that's a point for Larry Francisco. Oh, may finger heart pa. Sino kaya yun? Is that the other half of Larry Francisco?
Supporters, ano?
May kinikilig eh. May namumula dito sa gilid eh. Here's the setup on the other end. The setup wasn't the best. Ball up. Domingo to the open. Nice swipe by John Gay. Was that a hard set?
Yeah, that was. So actually, was too near the net. Pero yun nga, nagawa pa rin ang paraan. That was a good, smart move, just to swipe it.
On the other end, there's the answer from Philippine Coast Guard, courtesy of Adam.
Pero nakakatuwang bagitin yung pangalan.
Oh yeah. Ayoko nang ulit-ulitin eh.
Adam.
Oh, paano kaya ako magkaiba yung pronunciation, no? Yung first name and
Yeah.
last name niya. Curious at that as John Gay attacks straight to Molinyawe. Abdul Wahab onto Gatdula. Against two blockers, he will score.
No coverage on the side of Adamson, much to the delight of the fans of Philippine Coast Guard. Hindi ko na marinig yung sarili ko kasi narinig ko yung sigaw nila at cheer nila.
Well, they're just right behind us, which we love for Mr. Gatdula and company. It's a 3-point advantage now for Philippine Coast Guard. Unfortunately, they gave us a service error.
Second service error for Coast Guard here in this set.
It's a tighter set, no?
Yeah. Actually, Coast Guard, you know, they're playing better than they did in set number 1. Adamson pretty much, you know, consistent with how they're playing. Again, yun lang, pati yung errors lang talaga, you know, they're not able to reduce it as much.
That's another smart hit by Pau Paulino, who swiped it off of the blockers. What causes you to swipe?
Well, you know, actually, that's the skill, you know, that these attackers have. Kasi ibig sabihin nun, you know, when they go up, they don't just have their eyes on the ball, but they're also able to see the hands of the blocker. So in most cases, kasi lalo na pag medyo alanganin yung set, you know, if you hit it hard, then there's a chance that it goes back to you. Then yun yung smart attackers would normally just try to swipe it from the hands of the blockers.
So it really is more of a contingency than a primary option. Ball up here. Gatdula will attack. Straight to the corner. How about the Philippine Coast Guard just holding on to an advantage here in set number 2? It's now 13-12. Here's Larry Francisco at the line. Ball up by Canlas Domingo. No point right there for Casas. Ball sent over by Coast Guard. Casas again pushes. Abdul Wahab puts it up. Molinyawe to Gatdula. He's rejected.
Excellent blocking from Adamson. I think it's Coquimbal who had a hand at that.
There's Teo Coquimbal who had to step up. He has had to step up for Adamson as their main middle blocker nowadays.
And he has been doing a good job so far here in this game. He's the highest pointer for Adamson.
Del Pilar on the other end tried to score to no avail. Gatdula again. There's a whistle blown.
On net violation error called up on Adamson.
Oh, you have been mentioning their errors in set number 1. Double sub now. Galvez and De La Vega will check in. So Leo Galvez will be serving. Galvez actually is listed as an opposite spiker. And then again, you can just switch positions,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Especially if you're outside, if you're an opposite, sometimes ko yung nagiging second setter eh.
There's a point for Adamson University, tying things up at 14. Good comeback for them after they surrendered the first technical timeout with the advantage onto Coast Guard. De La Vega with the receive. He gets the ball. Tough attack there. Domingo looks and sets. Ball deflected. De La Vega. Now they put it over to the other end. Unfortunately, the attack by Gatdula was low. Well, we saw a lot of those in the first set from Adamson.
Adamson, that's right.
Those low attacks, Coach George even called the timeout to address it. Back set, Gatdula again.
Oh, that was wide. Nothing's going the way of Coast Guard right now.
How about that? It's Adamson who will send us to the second technical timeout.
excited kami kasi ito na yung parang first major exposure namin as a team as a whole. Yung goal namin is mabuo muna yung Philippine Coast Guard Men's Volleyball Team. Magpapakilala muna kami. Siguro nandun na rin naman na yung goal namin na mag-champion kunin namin. Pero syempre, yung short term muna is yung sa team muna itself.
Great words from team captain Puto de la Vega. By the way, folks, watch the Spikers Turf live in HD and on demand via Pilipinas Live. Enjoy the action anytime, anywhere, and in any device as the Coast Guard team scores. Download and subscribe now or watch via PilipinasLive.com. I'd like to add to that statement by Puto de la Vega. I asked him, since you were here before in 2019, why did you miss out on a couple of conferences? Why now did you return? And he said they felt that they're strong enough to compete this time around. And so that's a beam of hope for them. And let's hope that they can actually compete maybe in the playoffs.
That's right. And well, he did say, you know, that they're taking it one step at a time. So their priority right now, of course, is to be able to gel as a team. Yung sabi niya kanina, you know, they would want, of course, to be there in the finals. Pero yun nga, dito daw muna sila.
Right now, their challenge at hand is Adamson University. The blue shirts are up by 2 points, 17-15 in set 2. Molinyawe, his attack was low.
That did not cross the net. That's the 18th point for Adamson. They're now up by 3.
You go back at the service line with Pau Paulino. 18-15. Service is in, straight to Hu. That's Renzi Hu. That attack is successful at may kasama pang stare down from Puto de la Vega. All right, now I have to ask you. When he competed in college, was he like this when you watched him?
I think he had more spunk, you know, when he was in college. Medyo ano na to ng konti.
So conservative na to.
Oo, medyo toned down to ng konti.
Service error though from Coast Guard.
So that's a third here in this set.
And that's a 3-point advantage for Adamson. Jude Aguilar, former team captain, serving. There's the attack from Francisco, chased by Jude, who was a setter earlier this year. Oh, the ball hit him.
Unfortunately, he was not able to deflect it right away. Hindi nakaiwas agad eh. Let's take a look at that once again. That was actually a good set from Aguilar.
Ooh, he tried to matrix his way out of it, and it was a bit too late.
Yun at minsan talaga pag matangkad ka eh. Di ka kagad. Kahit feeling mo yung kagad, abot ka pa rin ng bola eh.
Boy, the Adamson squad was already celebrating up until they saw that hit on Jude Aguilar. And last with the first ball, they go to John Gay, who now answers back. You have a new server now for Adamson University. That is Joel Menor, who is our 2023 Palarong Pambansa MVP. There's his serve. That's inside. Abdul Wahab will go on to Adam, who scores. Double sub back in for Coach George Pascua. It's Casas and Domingo. There's Dam Adam.
Whatever you want to use.
Yeah. Again, folks, his first name is, or his nickname is Adam, and his last name is Adam as well. As John Gay got rejected, ball up by Canlas. Nice net defense by the Coast Guard.
Excellent defense from Coast Guard, but you know, we have to commend the coverage of Adamson also in that sequence. So there's this block.
It's by Larry Francisco. A chance to tie things up in set number 2 for Molinyawe and company. Strong serve there. Here's Paulina from the back on the off speed. Abdul Wahab Going to the opposite, Adam scores again.
Excellent cross-court hit. Well, that was just too strong. Down the line hit, rather.
Now we have a timeout. The score is 20 all.
Tapos, tingnan niyo yung swing ng kalaban. Iibabaw ba sa iyo yun? Pinapakita niyo kagad ang kamay ninyo eh. Pag pinakita niyo yung kamay ninyo, may idea sila kung saan madadaan yan. Wala. Diba? Titignan niyo muna kung ano ka spiker, bablock ba o hindi. Ganun din sa depensa. Basic lang naman yun eh. So ngayon, papasok nila service nila. So, lumisin muna tayo. Connect mo muna sa middle. Then pag nag-connect, doon ka mag-combination. Walang connection. Tapos dulo-dulo ka. Kayo naman ni spiker, unang palo nyo sa dulo. Dulo pa rin ba? Hindi pwede mag-short, pwede mag-3, pwede mag-4. Bakit open kayo? May play ba tayo ng open? Wala tayo. Hey, let's go!
Goals! So kanina, atake lang ang problema. Ngayon, may kasama ng receive.
So, but you know, Coach George really laying out all the options here for his team. And one of the things he also mentioned is that, you know, because they're having trouble now with their defense, and blocking is one of the things that actually helped them in set number 1. Eh. Ang ganda ng kanilang blocking.
The score is 20 all in set 2. Gatula is rejected. There you go.
Speaking of blocking,
it's Leo Cogimbal who gave us that point on the block. As you mentioned, he is the top scorer for Adamson so far, doing it on both ends. 21 serving 20. Tough receive by Hu, and that attack sailed long from Adam.
well, that's actually a good set, you know, from Abdul Wahab.
It's now a 2-point advantage for John Gay and the rest of Davies Paint Adamson. He has 6 points so far in this matchup. Misreceived there. Tough set by Abdul Wahab. And he was able to make something out of it.
Fraz Abdul Wahab has been doing a good job, you know, setting up Coast Guard.
Pag ganun ba, instinct na lang yun ng setter?
Yeah, reflex na lang talaga eh.
Reflex.
Oo, reflex na lang eh. Those are not actually very easy, mga one-hand set eh. But yun nga, the communication also should be present with your spikers. Especially yun, kasi mababa yung set. You know, quicker mo, dapat pumapasok.
That trims the lead down to 1 in set 2. Canlas with the receive. Domingo looks and sets. And there's Paulino, who found the hole in the middle of the defense. See what happened there. Absolutely nobody was near the ball. It's now 23 serving 21. Here's the leading scorer of Adamson in Leo Cogimbal. Ball received by Hu. Del Pilar could not score. Cogimbal sets up. John Gay from the back. A chance here for Coast Guard. Adam. Ball up. Good defense by Adamson. Casas. Nice rally. Abdul Wahab to the open. Gatula crosses, and that's outside.
Oh, that was a good rally. So I think they're going to challenge this.
Was it in? Was it out? Because the libero, Renzi Hu, went immediately to his head coach, Coach Jansen, for a challenge. Well, this is a crucial point.
That's right. So if this point goes to Coast Guard, then that could change the momentum.
Well, they did have a successful challenge earlier in the set that kind of gave them some momentum to grab the lead.
I think yun din siguro, no, yung, I don't know if you noticed this, no, pero usually if it's the, I don't like to use the older men term.
The veterans?
The veterans, okay? The seniors, okay? Earlier games, we've seen that, you know, when they go for the challenge, they're really very sure about it. And most of the time, it's really successful. Yeah, tama sila.
Well, Renzi Hu was right.
Diba?
The ball went straight to the line.
So siguro yun din yung isang baka skill na rin na develop ng ating mga seniors. They're able to see it really very well.
That trims the lead to 1. Unfortunately, it's a service error. Wow. How anticlimactic again. And now, Coach Johnson has to call for time.
Ilan spiker? Tatlo? Harap ka, no? Harap ka.
Di pa tapos.
Oh, tibay mo na sa receive.
Di pa tapos, di pa tapos.
Di pa tapos. Wala na yun, wala na yun. Wala na yun. Receive muna tayo.
Bawi. Isa lang muna, isa lang. Sige mo. Hey, let's go.
I'd like you to evaluate the communication level of Coast Guard, because it seemed like it wasn't only Coach Johnson who was talking in that huddle.
I think, for a team with a lot of senior players,
That's the right term, folks.
There's this, I think it's normal, not it's just not the coaches giving in their opinions. We've seen that in other teams, like for example, Air Force, in Army. Well, yes, their coach would really have a take on what he wants to say, but everybody else would also have
A say.
chip in, what they think.
And that attack sails outside for Gatdula, which means set number 2 belongs to Adamson University. They're up 2 sets to none as they try to follow what happened in game number 3 when Air Force swept PCU, as opposed to our 2 5-setters earlier in the day. Let's see that attack. It was outside. And so, that will do it. In our second set, Coast Guard had the early lead. Unfortunately, they gave it up onto Adamson University. We are 15 sets down for your Spikers Turf Sunday. And right now, it's Adamson University up 2 sets to none over the Philippine Coast Guard. And so, what did you see in set number 2 that you did not see in set number 1?
Well, definitely, better movement at the side of Coast Guard. They've had the difficulty that they had at set number 1 was quite present here in set number 2. Particularly, if Adamson gives off an attack off the block, yun yung medyo nahihirapan sila, to keep it alive. And Adamson, I must say, has been very consistent, in this match. They've been executing a lot of those combination plays that make it difficult para dito sa Coast Guard. And that's, as we look at the numbers in terms of attacks, hindi masyado nagkakalayo. Actually, Coast Guard this time has 1 more attack point than Adamson. The blocking, very consistent pa rin si Adamson. They have 3 block points, still more than what Coast Guard has done. The errors this time around, mas maraming pinamigay na puntos ang Coast Guard kesa dito sa Adamson. So, without those errors probably on the side of Philippine Coast Guard, they could have gotten the second set.
That's actually more errors. That's 1 more error compared to their 9 in set number 1. And 2 less for Adamson.
That's right.
Let's see.
And the errors also of Coast Guard, if you notice, there's a couple that was committed towards the latter end of the set, when they reached the 20-point mark. So yun yung talaga sinasabi natin crucial every time you commit an error.
Well, the last point was an outside hit by number 2. That's Gatdula. That's Gatdula for Coast Guard. There you see him on your screen. Let's see if they can respond here in set number 3. So far today, as it has been a beautiful day for Philippine volleyball. We have seen 2 5-setters, 1 3-setter, and there's only one common factor. That's our courtside reporter, Mika Abesamis, who seems to be enjoying the action as she's covered the shorter games so far. Let's see if that curse will be different here or will be broken as we see a point from Adamson University.
And I think that's courtesy of Kimbal. So that would be his 9th point. So he's the top scorer here for Adamson, followed by Paulino with 7. Guy with 6, Cagas with 4, Aguilar with 4.
There's the push by Casas, who had a much better set number 2 compared to his set 1, where he only scored 1 point.
So this is a free ball. Pagkakataon para sa Adamson.
Casas!
Calling for a touch.
They're gonna challenge this. Everybody's calling for that touch from the Adamson side. This is the most common challenge, no? The block touch.
Block touch. Yun sa men's lalo na eh. And usually it's hard to see kasi ang bibilis ng bola nila. You know, they jump so high and the ball is just so fast.
Kaya napapangiti na lang din si Coach George Pascua. But then again, the Adamson players looked so convinced with that previous sequence. How about the OG?
Yes, of course. Who would not know?
And he actually had a round of applause from the crowd as well. Can you introduce him to us?
Siyempre, kung sinusubaybayan nyo ang UAAP and you know that he's one. Baka may Coach Minerva ang women's team. Ayan. So meron naman tayo Coach Noming sa men's team. Ayan. Very animated siya.
Yes.
Sarap niyang panoorin pag may game.
And he's so kind as well off of the court,
siya, parang
no?
very fatherly.
Fatherly. Oh, you gotta love that song that we got from Coach Domeng. As now, that's great net defense again by Adamson. What a start for the Falcons here in set 3.
That's right, a very good start actually. And you know, if this is how Adamson would be moving, and this is far from I mean, a great improvement, you know, for how they performed in UAAP. So definitely a lot of promise for them.
And we just saw the first point on the other end for jersey number 6. I'm trying to locate his name. It's Ads Maningding. He's the youngest player of Coast Guard, born 2000. So folks, that's a testament that Coast Guard is not old.
Not all are older men.
As you saw the running attack from Leo Cogimbal. I'm looking at the birthday of Ads Maninding. He's going to celebrate it on Thursday.
Oh.
He's going to turn 23 on Thursday. Let's see if this could be a birthday gift for him. Attack from the back. That's John Gay. And that's straight to the net off of the dig. A point for Adamson. It's now 5 serving 1 for John Gay and company. That's in. De La Vega on the receive. Gadula attacks and he's rejected again.
Another excellent block on the side of Adamson.
We have a timeout before we even reach the technical timeout.
Tapos, tibay lang tayo sa ano, sa receive. Ha? Quick.
Tara.
Rezi, receive muna tayo.
Maro ng patay. Tara.
Rods. Diskarte.
Double back sa open.
Sir, diskarte ha.
Oo. Tulok na natin. Tara, laban tayo. Sige, sige. Natin yan. Right, let's go!
Let's see the last play. It's Gadula who got rejected. Was that by Cogimbal again?
Yes, it was. He has been performing very well, and he's very consistent with his attacks, and he's also defending the net very well.
That's how you know that all of the off-season training has paid off for Leo Cogimbal, who gets that early Christmas gift. Unfortunately, he was over-aggressive.
And yan, minsan talaga yung nakakagigil din talaga pag meron kang nakukuhang regalo eh.
Oh, we even saw one in the previous game between PCU and Air Force. A crucial error off of that gift. John Gay with the receive, and it all ended up with a point for Leo Cogimbal.
Cogimbal just soaring over. And his hang time actually has helped.
Is he relatively a small middle blocker?
Yes. Comparing him to other middle blockers, he's not really the tallest.
So he's going to have to compensate for that in other ways, as this is an attack from Francis Casas. And that leads us to the first technical timeout in set number 3.
Still at the Paco Arena for your 2023 Spikers Turf Invitational. After being out for a while in terms of competitive volleyball, Puto de la Vega did not stop his conditioning. He joined the Coast Guard's Officers Course class in 2021, graduated 2022. Counterpart daw ito ng PMA military graduation. So you can just imagine the physical work involved. Pero syempre, sa volleyball daw, gaya ng sinasabi ni Ivy na spunk niya dati, in his words, nabawasan daw ang angas niya. Which is, by the way, the reason why his colleagues called him Puto. So ngayon, to him, yung skills kailangan niyang gisingin. Lalo na daw ang kanyang leadership on the court as captain. Migs, Ivy?
Oh, now I'm going to have to look at the info sheet. His original name is John Kevin.
Yes.
So Puto is nowhere near those
Actually, you know,
names.
ito sa mga older. Ito when I use that term.
The seniors.
Okay, so sa mga more experienced,
Yeah.
more seasoned, I think they're familiar with the term puto. Ito yung usually kasi sinasabi nila when they're able to receive, you know, the hard hits in the mga sinisigaw ng mga mas nakakatanda.
Well, in fairness naman, Ivy, I still hear it nowadays.
Yeah. Napapasa pa rin naman siya,
napapasa
right?
pa rin naman. But did he actually...
I think yun yata yung talagang niya eh. That's why yun ang naging nickname niya eh. He really likes saying it with conviction niya every time na sinasabi niya. And, I mean, imagine him saying that as may angas pa,
Yes.
diba?
But that would make me wonder, as this is an attack error from Paulino, was the puto term already accepted and widely known before him?
Yeah, I would think so. Kasi, you know, when I was still in grade school.
Ano lang yun, mga 3 years ago?
Basta yun, I already hear that, you know, from my older players. Naririnig ko na siya.
So parang sumakay na lang si John Kevin doon, si Puto de la Vega, who by the way is not the older brother of Joven de la Vega, as there's a slide coming from Jude Aguilar. The score now is 10-4, and again, Jude Aguilar is back playing his original position. Does he look comfortable for you?
It does look comfortable.
Lumipat yung outside hitter onto being a setter in UAP Season 85. Attack from the back, that's John Gay, the other setter for Adamson. But his attack was low. It's 5 serving 10. Again, folks, we have seen 2 5-setters today and only 1 3-setter. Let's see how this game will end. Ball received by John Gay. There's the back set onto the slide again. Ball returned. Domingo One-handed tip. Ooh, that goes to the corner for De La Vega.
So those are, sabi nga na yung mga tinatawag nating veteran moves.
Pero hindi po to yan.
Hindi po to yan.
Tulak yan.
No. So they're really reading the opponents well, you know. So he saw everybody still trying to scramble at the front, and the back was really empty.
I can't help but ask, but what other lingo are there in volleyball besides puto?
Ano pa ba? Let me try to think.
Sige,
Let me try to think.
I'll give you 30 minutes, Ivy.
Alam mo, bago matapos ng laro ko.
May thesis presentation ka mamaya sa amin.
Oh, yung mga friends ko na nanonood dyan, you might want to help me out.
Gamitin niyo yung hashtag na hashtag SpikerStir 2023. This is Pau Paulino on the service line. Galvez to the quick. Wow.
Oh, that was a good defense.
At the net, Domingo couldn't send it through.
Yeah, but good save on the side of Adamson.
Yeah, it all happened so fast. There's the libero of Adamson University. Let's see his name. Number 13, Paco Manato, who comes from Quezon Province. Ooh, that's low on the service line. Courtesy of Dan Garcia.
9 service errors on the side of Coast Guard here in this match. So that's starting set number 1.
12 serving 7. Ball received by De La Vega. Puto tried to push it. Ooh, scramble for Adamson. At hindi umabot sa kabila para kay Domingo.
They had the right thing in mind. Actually, had that gone in, I think it would have been a point for Adamson.
Yeah, Lawrence was trying to target that zone near the referee.
There was no defender there.
Service for Coast Guard. That's low on the attack by Cogimbal. Don't look now, folks. It's only a 3-point deficit being faced by Coast Guard.
That's, again, as you mentioned, the set was a bit too low. So no adjustment on the part of Gimbal. Well, that was good.
It's Pau Paulino on that pipe hit. Unfortunately, we're going to see a challenge first on the foot fault. Wonder who saw that. Was it Renzi Ho again?
No, Renzi Ho is actually also coaching, you know, so I
Oh.
think that's why he really has sharp eyes for these things.
Akala ko sabi mo, nag-referee din siya.
No, nagko-coach. I know he does coaching also. And yun nga, because of the experience.
Yes. Well, he also has national team experience.
Yes, oo.
Where's his profile? Renzi Hu.
And he has also he's played with other teams also here in Spikers Turf. I think, if I remember correctly, Santa Elena. Was there a foot fault?
Parang malayo naman.
Yeah, there's none. There's none.
Hey, folks, we're not pointing fingers on Renzi Hu. We're not sure who actually asked for the challenge from the Coast Guard squad. Renzi Hu, by the way, played for CSB back in the day. He actually hails from Hong Kong, but he played for the Philippine national team. Galvez to the quick. Ball sent back. Galvez looks to the quick again. Good net defense. De La Vega puts it up. A chance ball for Adamson University. Domingo to the opposite, and Casas will score.
Well executed play on the side of Adamson. It's a back set. Powerful hit over the blockers.
What are you writing down on your paper? Is that how they scored?
Scores, yeah.
De La Vega sent the ball over. Domingo to the quick, and Cogimbal continues to score for Adamson.
3-point run here for Adamson.
See what happened. Great setup to Leo. All right, you mentioned, relatively speaking, he's not tall as a middle blocker. But does he jump high enough?
Well, we see here on the court, yes, because Coast Guard players aren't really that tall as well.
Okay.
Pero, I mean, we have an idea how tall the players are in UAAP. So,
And they're tall.
they're really tall. So, might not be enough just yet.
Well, there's a longer way to go for him to try to improve. Second technical timeout tayo, 16-9.
Yung pinakagol namin, mag-gain kami ng experience. Tignan namin kung saan yung mga capabilities namin, yung mga lacks namin para i-improve pa. Yung bring out namin yung the best namin, mabigyan namin yung lahat na na-training namin sa hirap na ginawa namin. We soar higher for and kanda kami sa lahat ng bagay, kahit sino pa yan.
Big shout out to Pao Paulino for granting us that wonderful interview. Watch the Spikers Turf live in HD and on demand via Pilipinas Live. Enjoy the action anytime, anywhere, and in any device. Download and subscribe now or watch via PilipinasLive.com. And I also actually want to echo on that as we saw another block from Adamson University. Can we just talk about Pilipinas Live for a bit here? Ivy, it's been a very nice platform. You can watch a lot of leagues there for a low price. And I even got some good reviews from my friends about how fast and HD talaga yung mapapanood mo.
That's right. And yun nga, ang maganda doon is, you know, like, anywhere you are, so let's say today, you know, you were not able to make it here, you're out somewhere, you can watch.
Yes. Now the score is 10, serving 17 in set number 3. Sputo de la Vega sends that ball over to Canlas. There's John Gay on the combination. They were read well. Casas, nice elevation. And he scores. Is there something different with the way he approaches the ball, si Francis Casas?
Well, let's take a look at this one. Well, for one, of course, you know, he's always full swing.
Well, if it works for him, then why not? It's now an 8-point lead for Adamson. Make it 9 off of that error. That's Ads Maningding, who again will be celebrating his birthday this coming Thursday. He's about to turn 23 years old. The youngest player of Philippine Coast Guard. (19-10). John Gay. Straight to Renzi Hu. Ball sent back. De La Vega. Abdul Wahab to the quick. And that works.
Let's take a look at that last attack. Not the strongest of hits, you know, but just placed at the right spot.
Great read by Larry Francisco, who started in this game for the orange shirts. Unfortunately, we saw another error.
So that would be the second here for this set.
And 10 service errors in total.
9th, I think.
9.
Overall, yeah.
For Philippine Coast Guard. Ball up, Abdul Wahab. That's a combination play and it works.
Finding that hole in the defense of Adamson. Coast Guard trying to hang on here, but they're down by 8 points.
Nice point by Adam against Adamson. I have to say it, Ivy. 12 serving 20. Here's Adam sending it through.
That was good serve.
Domingo to Casas. Nice block. The other end, it's Paulino. Ball deflected. Abdul Wahab to the open. Net defense was there.
Good blocking from Adamson.
That's Francis Casas, who even had a look onto Gadula after that rejection. Double sub in. We have Bermudez and Baptista checking in for Coach George Pascua.
So Adamson just needs 4 points to close out this match.
And to close out this day. This wonderful day for Spikers Turf action. This is the 16th set for your volleyball inside the Paco Arena. And it's point number 22 for Pao Paulino and the rest of Adamson. Now we have a timeout for Coast Guard.
Dito. Wala na tayo. Tambak na. Anong... Kapit lang. May receive naman tayo. Ha? Sino nasa unahan?
Kapit pa.
Dalawa. Rudy, no? Diskarte, Rudy. Ras, pagka-chance ball. Pag miss receive, bigay mo na sa is. Para iwahiwalay naman yung blocker natin. Ha? Pabukay lang natin yung blocker nila. Guys.
Layo niya, no?
I just thought of something because we did say that the AFP Olympics will be concluded this week. So that means itong Coast Guard team, they are going to be competing in another tournament. You can actually create some momentum from this league, no?
That's right. No, but the thing is though, if it's simultaneously ongoing, so I mean that could also take a toll on the players.
On the bodies.
Yeah, because you have to remember, aside from playing, they also have their duty, their regular duty. So they're not really excused from it.
And again, duty comes first for our Philippine Coast Guard. As now we see a substitution for Coach George. Number 16, it's John Ray Dongon who checks in. I see they will go to him. Baptista attacks, and he was rejected.
2-point run here for Coast Guard. But they're down by 8 points, and Adamson just needs 3 points to end the match.
Gadula has 6 points to his name. A service error again.
I was about to say that there's no room for errors on the side of Philippine Coast Guard. So I jinxed it in my mind.
At least you kept it in your mind. It's now 23 serving 14, and Coach George is really giving some exposure to a couple of his bench players. We have Janjan Iboa, who's now checking in. He's born 2001. Their youngest guy actually is John Ray Fritz Dongon, who checked in a while ago. He was born 2004. Oh no, there's another younger guy. And there's another younger guy. So let me just retract my statement. Ganun sila kabata.
Oh, kaya pala sinabing older.
There's a guy born 2005 for Adamson, as they gave us a block. It looks like it was Dongon who got the block, to the delight of his teammates. Yeah, John Ray Dongon, the third youngest player of Adamson University. Pao Paulino onto Gatula. Gadula have to the quick. Chance here for the blue shirts. Back set. Ooh. Bit of a risky play there, but still the final point going to Janjan Iboa to end the night for your Spikers Turf Invitational Conference. They sweep the Philippine Coast Guard in 3 sets. And our last tally for set number 3 is 25-14.
So good start here for Adamson. They performed very well here in this match.
All right, folks, we'll be back to wrap this game up. We're back inside the Paco Arena. And that is your final score for Adamson University going up against the Philippine Coast Guard. They sweep the orange shirts, 25-19, 25-22, and 25-14. So it just got better and better for Coach George Pascua and company. After we talked about them having that tendency to start strong and then kind of dip down a bit after their beginning performances. But now we turn you over to our courtside reporter, Mika Abisamis.
I am with Luloy Cogimbal, the best player of this match. Luloy, what a way para maipakita nyo at maipakilala nyo yung sarili nyo dito. Nanalo kayo against a veteran team. Kumusta yung experience?
Masaya po kami kasi first game namin and nakuha namin yung panalo. Tayo po kasi nakagawa namin yung mga tinatraining namin. Kaya maraming salamat. Kaya yun lang po.
Okay, napag-usapan natin kanina na isa sa mga tinututukan mo ngayon ay yung service mo. No? Paano to nakatulong dito sa match na to?
Nung una po medyo nag-error pa rin po ako sa service. So thankful din po ako kasi nakabawi po ako. And yung mga service ko ng mga sunod-sunod is okay naman.
Maraming salamat, Luloy Cogimbal. They will start getting used to this. Migs, Ivy?
Well, I think we also have to get used to somebody being bear-hugged during the best player of the game interview. But Ivy, what a performance for Leo Cogimbal, who's now the newest star middle blocker for Adamson University.
That's right. So he, being put in that position, of course, there could have been a lot of expectations from him, but he definitely stepped up today. He has contributed not just in the attacks, but also in defending the net.
All right, so we're just wrapping up with some highlights here. Obviously, a dominant win for Adamson, a dominant performance in set number 3. They even had a couple of players off the bench contribute for them.
That's right. So no, I think when in set number 2 it was actually close. The Coast Guard was able to keep it close, but when we went into set number 3, talagang nagtuloy-tuloy itong Adamson. They did not give opportunity for Coast Guard to recover, and I think that's one good thing. No, even they're the younger team, parang hindi sila parang they don't use the fact that they're playing up against more senior players para ma-intimidate sila.
See the numbers.
And let's take a look at the numbers. Adamson having more attack points in set number 3, and look at the blocks they've scored in this set. 5 block points. And for both of these teams, did the better job in trying to minimize or reduce the errors. Both had only 6 points at given away.
Well, folks, obviously this is a good start for Coach George Pascua and company. They would want to bring some momentum in their next games because it's not an easy pool that they have.
That's right.
They will take on Saints and Latte, if I'm saying that right. That's the Trans squad. Santa Rosa City, that's also really tough. And then St. Gerard Construction CSB with the Signal HD Spikers, our defending champions. So it's another quadruple header this coming Wednesday inside the Paco Arena. We have Letran versus Santa Rosa. Santa Elena going up against Perpetual. And we have Cap Stars versus MKA. I think that's San Beda University, SBU, if I'm not mistaken. We have Basilan taking on LPU, Lyceum. And so a lot of action is coming your way for your Spikers Turf Invitational Conference. So stay tuned for more, folks. It's only the beginning. A longer way to go for all of us in Philippine men's volleyball. Thank you for joining us. For Mika Abisamis and Ivy Remulla, my name is Mix Gomez, and we'll see you again this coming Wednesday.